When my wife and I bought our home in Alderwood Estates, we were just looking for a quiet neighborhood and a place with enough space for our side work. I work in federal investigations, classified work, much of it involving organized fraud and racketeering. My position in the Department of Justice focuses on high-value evidence protection and logistical field coordination. It's the kind of job where discretion isn't just policy, it's survival. That's why the detached garage behind our home was built to federal specification. To the neighbors, it looked like a modest, well-kept building with reinforced doors and tinted windows. But inside, it was secure federal evidence storage, fireproof safes, surveillance-grade network, chain of custody documentation, all installed under federal warrant. Of course, Karen, president of the Alderwood HOA, had no clue. The eyesore complaint. It started with a passive-aggressive note from the HOA stapled to my fence. This structure violates Section 8C. Detached buildings must match primary dwelling materials. Yours does not and must be removed within 10 days. My garage was clad in security-grade paneling, not traditional vinyl siding. It didn't match the house for a very intentional reason. Still, I followed protocol. I sent the HOA a formal exemption letter. Included were limited redacted documents explaining the federal designation. I also cited local ordinances that prevented HOAs from interfering in state or federal operations. Karen's response? A snide email. We don't bend our rules for backyard projects. You'll receive a fine every day it remains. She called it a backyard project. They didn't just fine me, they destroyed it. I was called into D.C. for a 3-day interagency summit. I left the garage under a secure lock system with a live feed monitoring connection. On day 2, while reviewing footage remotely, I noticed something strange. Contractors on the property, bulldozers, construction tape, HOA representatives giving directions. I couldn't believe what I was watching. They were dismantling the garage without notice, without a court order, without any legal authority. By the time I returned home, the structure was gone, flattened. The safes, computers, and chain of custody evidence moved, exposed, and in some cases damaged. Karen even had the audacity to leave a handwritten note on my front porch. It's gone. You're welcome. Now we can enjoy a proper backyard view. She had no idea what she'd just done. When the DOJ arrived, the very next morning, I placed an urgent call to my contact at the Department of Justice. By noon, 2 black SUVs pulled up. Inside were federal agents from the Evidence Protection and Federal Property Division. Their job? Investigate any breach or mishandling of classified or high-security evidence. They walked straight to Karen's house. She answered the door smugly until she saw the badges. The agents informed her that she had authorized the destruction of active federal evidence storage, a building under seal and protected by federal jurisdiction. Every item inside was under chain of custody protection as part of an ongoing financial crimes case. Several of those cases were going to trial within weeks. She tried to deflect, claimed she didn't know. But ignorance isn't a defense when the structure is marked, when documentation was provided, and when federal exemption had been clearly noted. Legal fallout. Karen's decision wasn't just a neighborhood blunder. It triggered a federal obstruction of justice investigation, tampering with evidence charges pending review, immediate removal of Karen and 2 HOA board members for overreach and unlawful property destruction. The HOA itself received a federal injunction preventing further enforcement actions until full legal review. The contracted demolition company, hired without proper vetting, also faced fines and lawsuits. A lesson in arrogance. Karen underestimated a lot of things. The building, the paperwork, me. But what she underestimated most was that her neighborhood beautification project just interfered with federal operations involving multi-million-dollar fraud rings. My garage wasn't a shed. It was an evidence vault. She didn't just cross a line, she demolished it. Why this matters. In an age of federal and local overlap, too many HOA boards think they wield unlimited power. But the law doesn't stop at their property lines. When HOA members act out of ego, They risk more than fines. They risk felony charges. In this case, Karen thought she was cleaning up the neighborhood. She ended up under investigation.